Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, The Lost Chevalier, and you're welcome back to the cozy game that is Cabin Fever. We're gonna continue playing right freaking now. Okay, wakey. Hey, I could get used to this. Dog my brain. Oh yeah, it's smelling the food, the smell of the food. I roll my eyes on myself as I hop out of bed. This was the sort of a new routine. It had to be. Mallory was here now, and I didn't want either one of us taking advantage of the other. I wondered if she'd like to learn about the systems I had set up for off-grid living. I definitely needed her to understand why certain things were important, like conserving water, obviously, but she might actually enjoy being involved with the work I did on the daily. Maybe we could share the load. She could be the Sam to my Frodo. My heart felt kind of right and big at the thought of having a friend, even if just for a while. It was something of break with the mind-numbing monotony of that sweet post-apocalypse lifestyle I have been having. I haven't been living in a freaking paradise, if you ask me. Let me see, everything is recording correctly? Yeah. Perfect. Wait, is it? Yeah, it's currently recording. Good. I could be an okay teacher. I don't think I feel like courses before. For beginners wanting to learn C#. Teaching someone how to feed a chicken shouldn't be that hard, any harder than that. I trotted softly down the stairs and snuck into the kitchen. Some eggs medley bubbling away in the skillet, and a pot of rice was boiling over. Mallory stood with her back to me, struggling to reach something high up the cupboard. Your pot is boiling.
Oh, you surprised me. Good morning. How did you sleep?
Honestly wonderful and looking at you, seeing at you this morning, my darling. It's all I need to survive. I'm just so romantic. She moved back to the stove to transfer the rice off the heat. Then she picked up a skillet and gave the eggs a good toss. I slept okay. How about you? She smiled, wiping her hands on her apron. It was my mother's apron, actually, and I was pleasantly surprised to see it. It had been tucked away in the bottom drawer and forgotten about for a long time.
Great. Your couch is super comfy, and that blanket is so cozy and warm.
I'm so glad you like it. Good, I'm glad. My gaze drifted to the open cupboard behind Mallory. Did you need something from up here? From there? She looked back at the cupboard and let out a nervous giggle.
Yes, please. I was looking for aspirin and I thought I saw a bottle up there, but I couldn't really reach. I didn't want to risk standing up on a chair or something with my leg.
Okay, I will reach it. Is it getting more painful? I did notice a little redness yesterday, but I didn't think it was infected. Unless, wait, you're not feeling sick, are you?
No, it's just the leg. It's a bit achy.
Okay. I motioned for her to switch places with me, keeping some distance between us, while I reached up and grabbed the aspirin bottle out of the cupboard. It was still half full, yet I hesitated for a moment, reluctant to share my supply, but then I could order more, along with that first aid kit needed to replace. I set the bottle on the counter and stepped away so Mallory could take it. She smiled so brightly that dimples appeared in her cheeks.
Thank you so much. You're the best.
You are the best. I pressed my lips together, trying not to smile. We were still standing too close to one another. I took another few steps back, clearing my throat. Maybe it's time for another temperature check, just to be sure. I went to grab the scanner and came back. Could you, move your hair? She lifted her bangs of her forehead so I could get a clear reading with the temperature scanner. After a few moments, the happy sound of one beep let me know she was fever-free. Okay, you're good, but we should keep distancing until enough time has passed to know for sure. Mallory nodded as she untied her apron, then she did a little twirl on her good leg and offered me a plate.
How's this for a second attempt at breakfast?
I will say it's freaking amazing. Oh my god, it even has steam. Oh my god, it looks so delicious. The food looked glorious. I knew the eggs were fresh because I collected myself just a few days prior, but still, what she had done with them was just beyond impressive. Rough chopped vegetables and herbs gave splashes of color to the omelette, which was stuffed with steaming hot rice speckled with even more seasonings. The whole thing had a long, round, heavenly aroma. I used to put in the omelette, I put cheese on it, inside of them. And just that, just cheese. Suddenly, so good old Shakespeare came into my mind. Did my heart love till now, for where it sighed. For I ne'er saw true beauty till this breakfast. I thought to myself, you're a nerd. Well, you seem to have learned how to use the stove properly. She blushed. Oh no. I hope I hadn't embarrassed her. I didn't mean it as a jokey, complimenty thing. You have been alone too long, I say to my brain. Really, this is amazing and I don't deserve it. We enjoy our breakfast at the dining room table, sitting across from each other just like the previous night. Through the great big windows at Mallory's back, the yard looked bright and inviting. Looks like we will have a great weather today. I was thinking of doing some work in the garden for a while. A place like this needs a lot of maintenance. 10 acres of green space, all the off-grid systems. It's a constant running to-do list to keep everything going.
It seems pretty amazing. Is it hard to take care of it all by yourself?
More or less. It can be hard work, but it's worth it.
Well, what can I do to help?
Oh. I look at her a little surprised. You are so sweet. Join me in the garden. I suppose you could join me if you like. Some fresh air may help you feel rejuvenated. Speed up your healing. I could show you a little bit about my setup too. Introduce you to the hands. She started as though I had waking her from a daydream. Her eyes, bright and beautiful, locked onto me. Your beautiful eyes. Whoa, was all I could think.
You have hens? Like little chickens that actually run around going cluck cluck? For real?
For real. I laugh. It hadn't occurred to me that she might not have ever seen one before. But if she came from the city, which I sort of assumed she did, then it made sense. Her childlike excitement over something as normal to me warmed my heart against his will. Yeah, I can fish too. You wanna meet them? She raised excited fists, practically bouncing in her seat.
Yes, I do. I really do.
Okay, let's get outside then. She jumped out, the very definition of bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Her enthusiasm was infectious. It made me feel more lively too. I thought about insisting we both mask up if we were going to be spending the day in close proximity, but I thought about it some more, and since we'll be outside with lots of space all around, and since neither of us has any symptoms, I imagine it will be fine. Yeah, don't be so crazy. As we headed outside, I offered Mallory a jacket. She declined. I was skeptical that she'd be warm enough in her dead dress, but it was her call. At least the sun was warm today, and there wasn't much wind. I let Mallory lead the way through the garden. She would stop to examine all the different growing things, all the fruits and vegetables, more than enough for one person. I have to have an overabundance of products, so I will end up canning a lot of it. Except for those potatoes. Rest in peace, potatoes.
Oh my gosh! Are these strawberries?
Yes. There she stood in the strawberry pack, a look of total wonderment on her face.
They look so plump and juicy, and they're so red. How did you grow them?
Easy. I plant them. They're actually the easiest thing to maintain around here. They grow like weeds. Pretty much every year I get 3 whole harvests out of this patch.
Really? What do you do with all of them?
I do jam. I make my own jams, put them in salads, make smoothies, things like that. Oh, smoothie sounds delicious. I think I had made some for easy picking too. For easy stocking. But I think they're best right off the bush. You're welcome to have some. Her eyes widened. They were huge, and they were actually twinkling now. How did she do that?
I've never eaten a strawberry before. Are you sure?
Yeah, go ahead. Go crazy. Never, jeez. Yeah, just help yourself. Just put your index finger and thumb behind it and stem and Blech. Sorry, I need to breathe a lot through my mouth because my mouth is tough. And thumb right behind the stem and pinch it off. I watched her reach out in search of the perfect strawberry to pluck. Watch out for the slugs. She paused, stuck her tongue out at me in jest, and selected her perfect first strawberry, my love.
Oh, wow. These taste just like sunshine. I could eat these every day.
I'm glad you like it. Feast away. I couldn't help but want to offer her everything just then. The happiness radiating off her was like addictive or something.
Oh, look. This one's shaped like a heart.
You are so sweet and lovely.
This one here is huge. Look how shiny and red it is. It's like something out of a picture book.
You are just the cutest.
Oh, there's a little bug munching on that one. Enjoy your meal, little bug.
I just want to hug you. I smiled to myself while Mallory chattered away, eating strawberries by the handful. I picked up my rake and started taking care of the fallen leaves that were encroaching on the garden. Mallory noticed and came over.
Can I do that?
Yeah! Her smile widened at the sky above us. Oh no, that's okay. No need to go easy on you. You need to go easy on your legs.
My leg feels fine. Please?
She just looked at us so earnest. Reluctantly, I passed her the rake. While Mallory took care of the raking, I made my way to the other end of the garden, where I worked at pulling up weeds. Pretty soon I had a bucket almost filled. When I looked around for Mallory, I saw her standing beside her leaf pile in progress, pausing to catch her breath. Oh, she's so lovely. I felt bad for letting her take on the raking. She'd probably end up feeling pretty sore afterwards. Still, it was nice to have the help. I could already tell that the chores would go quicker this way. I watched her until she'd finished her little break and gone back to raking, or rather until she spotted me looking at her and gave me a big thumbs up, which I pretend I hadn't seen. Pulling up weeds. I shook my head at myself, tossing another fistful of leafy stalks into the bucket. Something about the girl stirred up my insides. She was like a cartoon princess, too happy and determined, almost too good to be real. I, for one, definitely wouldn't have been dog enough to pick up a rake with a leg injury like that. If anything, I do have sat in the couch playing video games until it healed. So I guess I felt a feeling that was partly between admiration and total bewilderment. Because there Mallory was, her pale skin glistening as she did my yard work for me, her dress swaying and dancing around her thighs as she moved. Wait, I'm still looking at her. I thought I went back to wedding. Wedding. I have to put an end to this distraction. It looked like Mallory was just about finished anyway, so I carried my bucket over to her. Looking good. Good work, I mean. Yeah, looking good. Let's move all this stuff into the compost bin.
Okay. What's that?
This thing. You put weeds into it and it creates compost. Compost is the thing that we use to water to give the plants life. But not. I showed her the bin, and as we filled it up with weeds and old leaves, I gave her the rundown. Basically, I put all the dead plant matter and vegetable waste I have into the tumbler. Since it's a sealed container, it traps lots of heat inside and helps the stuff break down. See the handle on the side? I use that to turn the tumbler so everything gets mixed together. Then, once it's all broken down, I mix it with the garden soil. The compost gives the soil extra nutrients, which help the plants grow. It's kind of like the circle of life. I save all the peels and ends from the products I eat, turn them into compost, and use that to grow more stuff. So the garden really provides its own nutrients for the next crop of plants that grow there.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I know, it's amazing. Honestly, everyone should be doing this. It's a big part of reducing waste.
It's like a big, friendly leaf monster. Nom nom nom.
Oh my god, you're so cute. I love you. Oh my god, you're so cute. So innocent. But yeah, it looks like a big monster. She fed the last of the garden waste into the mouth of the bin, then patted the top of it as though praising a good dog. I nearly snorted with laughter. She was too pure for this world, really. For a few moments, we stood together admiring the garden. It looked so clean and healthy now. Then, with a twinge of anxiety, I noticed how close we were to one another, how closely we'd been working. But it was probably fine. She seemed healthy. More than healthy. She was hanging her injury remarkably well. Was that the so-called power of possible thinking at work? Oh, Jesus. Never mind, I lurched backwards, looking at her in horror. Are you feeling sick?
No, sorry. It's just my throat is dry. I'm really thirsty.
Oh, right, we've been working for a while. And now that she mentioned it, I feel pretty parched too. Phew! I'm gonna get us some water. I dipped inside, took a few deep breaths, and went to fill up a couple of stainless steel water bottles. Everything was fine. Her temperature had been normal for the get-go. She had no fatigue, no symptoms of the virus at all, apart from that one cough, which was justified. Still, it was a reminder that I shouldn't be letting my guard down. When I returned outside, I found Mallory staring up at my roof, with one hand raised to shade her eyes from the intense sunlight.
What are those? They look like shields for your house.
Oh, you mean the solar panels? I looked up at the roof where she was pointing. Oh, sort of. They're solar panels. And they look like they could use a sweep, actually.
Why? What are they for?
They absorb energy from the sun and turn it into power for the cabin.
What? Really?
Yeah, really. Here, face towards the sun and spread your arms out. She hesitated, then raised her arms up. She closed her eyes and tilted her head so that the sun lit up her pale face. Feel that warmth, that energy from the sun. That's energy from the sun, or as I like to call it, the nuclear furnace that sinks in the sky 150 million kilometers away from us. The solar panels take the energy and convert it into electricity. That current makes its way down to the charge controller, which turns the current into voltage for the batteries. My computer, appliances, and light are all modified to run off that DC voltage. Oh, and the charge controller is hooked up to a battery that can store all the incoming energy, so we can still run the power for a while, even when the sun has gone away. I hope my explanation made sense. For someone who'd never seen solar panels before, the concept might be a hard one to grasp.
So you capture the sunshine and turn it into energy? Isn't that like what flowers do?
Exactly. Yeah, that's one way of thinking about it. The twinkle in her eye had returned. She continued to gaze up at the panels in awe.
It's like magic.
It is.
If we'd had something like this where I grew up, then the citywide power outages wouldn't have mattered so much.
Oh, her smile faded a little. Suddenly the conversation felt heavy. I wanted to ask her to tell me more, but I was afraid. Give me a few minutes to sweep the leaves off the roof, then we can go say hi to the hens.
Ooh, okay.
Yay. They're over there, for your information. Just FYI. In case I happen to fall to my death or something.
What?
Don't worry, if that happens you can just bury me in the garden. My crops will give lots of nutrients to the soil. She gasped, clearly horrified, and I couldn't keep a straight face anymore. I laughed.
Don't kid around like that. It's not funny.
Why not? It is. Sorry. I'll be back in a few. Just rest. I grabbed a ladder and broom from the shed and headed up onto the roof. I swept all the leaves from the solar panels and cleaned out the eavesdrops for good measure. I paused to gaze down at Mallory in the garden. She looked so at peace among all the plants. Butterflies had died nearby on a patch of wildflowers, and she was smiling at them. I didn't think I'd ever seen a sweeter scene. I looked across the distant hill toward what remained of the city. That was where Mallory had come from, I'd assume so, but now that she'd confirmed it with her comment about the power outages, the thought of living there almost hurt. Sorry, I need to breathe. Even from my rooftop, I could see how everything had fallen into disrepair. I remember the long ago announcement that public buildings would be closing down indefinitely. Sports stadiums, movie theaters, malls, and offices had all been shuttered. Even apartment complexes and private homes had to change. People were moved and shuffled around as fences went up and shared spaces became inaccessible. Anything to keep people apart from each other, or at least in their own small safety bubbles. I hadn't set foot in the city in years, and looking at it now, I had no desire to ever set foot there again. With a sad sigh, I turned my back on the ghost city and climbed down from my roof. I met Mallory in the garden and forced a smile. Ready? She seemed so excited as we made our way over to the chicken coop. For a moment I even thought I saw a spring in her step, but then I realized it was her limp. Was the aspirin she'd taken wearing off already? The chicks glanced with extra enthusiasm when they saw that I had company. When I opened the door to their fenced-in area, some of them flapped their wings fiercely, sending feathers flying and making Mallory laugh. For as long as they have been alive, I have been alone, so they either are happy for me or scared of you. Not sure. I pulled the gate to shut behind us. Mallory was already saying hello to each individual chicken, giving them compliments and asking them how they were enjoying the morning. Then she saw the chicks, and she gasped.
Babies!
Indeed! Did I not mention that? Yeah, they hatched a few days ago. You can pick them up if you want. She looked up at me, her eyes doing that shimmery, sparkling thing again. I saw there were tears there, and I thought, or hoped, that they were tears of joy.
They're so cute! Are you sure I can touch them? It looks like they'll break, they're so tiny.
Yes, you can, of course. Funny, that was exactly how I felt about her. They will be okay, just gently scoop them up into your hands.
Okay.
Oh, she looks so happy and so beautiful. Look at the little heads, they look beautiful too. Look at the chicks. She carefully held out her hands. Some of the chicks came closer, investigating her, and it didn't take long before a couple of them volunteered to step onto her palms. Mallory let out a small squeak and lifted the chicks up to her face. The chicks reciprocated with their own happy peeping noises, dancing in her hands as she strolled their golden down with a single fingertip.
They're so soft. I love them.
Yeah, they're so sweet. I believe her. It was weird. I couldn't fathom loving something so easily or so quickly, but Mallory did, and I had a hunch she'd even taken a bullet for those baby chicks. Sorry the smell, by the way. I'm not used to it. I'm used to it. So I guess I forgot that cubs can get pretty smelly.
I don't find it bad at all.
Okay. She continued to pet and play with the little chicks. The whole scene was just too precious. Do you want to feed them? There is a bag of grain just behind you. She looked over her shoulder, smiling, and gently set down the chick so that she could reach up for the bag. She took out a small handful of grain and scattered it in front of her. The chicks started to eat, and soon the adult hens came to join them. All the chickens loved Mallory. They nibbled at her dress and danced around as she fed them. The clucking intensifies with every handful of grain, becoming so loud that Mallory started to laugh.
They're so happy.
Yes, they are. I can't take care of them. I nod. I try to give them a good life, even if it's only a short one.
Huh? What do you mean?
Huh? Oh no. Why did I say that? What should I say next? Look! Well, sure, because, chickens aren't very tall, huh? You know, it's tall though, aliens, I bet, so what are your thoughts on the possibility of intelligent extraterrestrial life anyway? You know, I thought I saw a UFO once, but it turned out to be just one of those wacky, inflatable, flailing arm things that got loose off the car, and I saw the look of dismay on Mallory's face and let my voice trail off. She stroked one of the baby chicks deep in thought.
I guess life is always too short, no matter who or what you are.
Yeah, I guess it is. Mallory leaned down to nuzzle the chick again, whispering,
Love you, little chick. Have a really fun day, okay?
Oh my god. She giggled softly. Then she got to her feet and turned to face me.
Thank you for bringing me to meet them.
No, of course, anytime. I cleared my throat and motioned at Mallory to lead the way back onto the coop. I followed her out, shutting the gate behind us. Shall we head back inside? She nodded as we strolled across the grass. Felt a little awkward when we went back to the cabin. There was an unhappy tension, but I didn't know if it was just my feeling guilty or something more. I tried to inject a little peckiness into my voice. So, there was one more thing I really wanted to show you today. It's the most intricate and nerdy of all my systems, and by far my favorite. She tilted her head questioningly. Remember when I say I had fish? Well, it's a bit more complicated than that. The fish are actually part of a system I use to grow plants and food indoors. That way I can have at least some fresh things to eat in the winter.
Oh?
It's called aquaponics, and it's really freaking cool. Come on, I will show you. She smiled softly and like she had charmed by the idea. That was a relief.
Okay.
Let's go. You will love it. I led Marley through the cabin to my aquaponics room. It was sort of tucked away, and since I always kept the door closed, it was easy to miss. I found myself oddly excited to show this to her. I felt almost proud as I opened the door, revealing the dim room on the other side.
Why is it so dark in here?
Oh yeah, purple lights. I know the purple light is kind of strange. It's because those are grow lights. Their wavelength mimics the sun and gives the plants the specific red and blue light they need. It's a way of tricking them to think they're adults. Not that plants can think. She smiled like she thought I was maybe a little bit funny, which lifted my spirits even higher. I followed her all the way into the room. It wasn't something I acknowledged often, but this was my favorite place. Caring for the plants and the fish, watching them grow and change and live, gave me a feeling of connection I didn't quite get from the outdoor garden of the hens. I didn't even feel a connection like that with other humans, no matter how many forums I joined or chats I took part in or emails I sent or received.
This is amazing.
Yay, told ya.
I know, but I wasn't expecting so many plants. You have so much food.
Indeed. I felt a twinkle of guilt for how upset I could have been for the potatoes she burned. She walked down the rows of potted vegetables and fish tanks, murmuring hello to the fish, examining the water feeding systems and the grow lights. I imagined it all through her eyes, the eyes of someone seeing something like this for the very first time. It must have seemed like a mad scientist lair or something. She paused, peering more closely into one of the fish tanks.
Why are there plants growing out of the tank water?
Technically, they're not. They have their own water. It's just being cycled through the fish tank as well. That's how they get nutrients. I pointed out at the tubes that cycle the water. It's like the circle of life, kind of. I feed the fish and they produce waste, which contains ammonium. That gets converted into nitrites and then into nitrates. Nitrates and then into nitrates, which the plant can use to grow. These tubes carry the tank water up through a filter. The filter traps all the bits of waste that won't help the plants and lets the now nutrient-rich water run through and into the plant roots. It's all a careful balance. Everything working in harmony. If I feed the fish and keep the filters clean, then they are able to take care of my plants for me. Mallory watched the fish swimming lazily back and forth, her face filled with wonder. I grabbed the container of fish food and held it out. Here, feed them. Just take a bit of a sprinkle in it. Take a bit of it and sprinkle it in. I smiled at her encouragingly.
Okay.
She took a pinch of fish food out of the container and gently sprinkled some flakes into the tank. The fish swam excitedly towards the flakes, opening and closing their mouths. Mallory smiled and gave them some more. Oh,
They're really hungry. Looking at them feels peaceful.
I know. Yeah. I watched her watching the fish and imagine I showing her how to set up systems like this from scratch. I imagine us doing it together, planting the seeds of her favorite flower or a special fruit she'll never try, celebrated the first bud and the first harvest, and I'm feeling romantic and I'm like, yeah, we could be living together forever and ever. Mallory started at me and asking very suddenly,
Who taught you all of this?
I learned it myself. She was too close. I took a step back and bumped into some shelving behind me. I could feel my face warming up. Well, my parents used to take care of their plants sort of like this when I was young. And then I taught myself a bunch more by reading or by trial and error. She shook her head a little, her gaze fixated somewhere far away.
My family had nothing like this.
Oh.
There was one grocery store in our neighborhood. We'd have to wait in line for ages, and then the shelves would be practically empty. We had to scrounge and make do with food that was either spoiled or just plain not enough.
Shit.
All these systems you use. If we could have had something like this, then maybe...
My stomach felt tight. This was it. She was opening up. She was finally going to tell me where she came from, what kind of life she had, maybe even what she'd have been doing out in the rain that night. Bleh. I didn't feel ready. Why was my heart beating so fast? She looked so somber and her mouth came open, hesitant. And then she said,
I love that you wanted to show me all this stuff. But, what do you do for fun around here?
Fun. What is fun? Now I have video games. She nodded me and gave me a cheeky little smile. Okay, so much for that idea. I forced my own smile, averting my eyes. Yeah, I know, all work and no play, yada yada. How about this? Let's go make some tea, got something to eat, and I will show you my video games. She nodded, suddenly grinding just as brightly as she had been in the morning, as if the day had brought her no sadness at all. She said goodbye to all the fish and went back into the brightly lit hall. I followed and closed up the room behind us. We ended up spending most of the afternoon playing games on my tablet and snacking. When I showed Mallory my favorite retro game, the idle clicker with just the right balance of dopamine-inducing rewards, she told me she'd played it before with her sister when they were children. She was so excited about this, and once again her enthusiasm was infectious. I used to hold the record for fastest speedrun of this game, you know?
You did not. There's no such thing as a speedrun of a clicker game, and if there was, that record would be held by a bot.
You actually know what you're talking about. We tease each other like that, laughing and sharing little meaningless anecdotes, and I didn't notice her shifting closer to me, getting more comfortable. We were too comfortable. A comfortable silence took over, then Madeline leaned against me. Aww. This is the moment. I'm happy. Too nervous to move, I looked down. Her eyes were closed. She was falling asleep. For some reason, I let her stare there on my shoulder. I studied her, the ornament brooch she wore on her dress, on her sweater dress, the cute pin she wore in her silky hair, her creamy skin and narrow shoulders, the plunging white lace bra. My throat tightened up. This was not okay. Slowly, with deliberate care, I slid away from her. I used a throw cushion to lower her onto the couch, trying my best not to wake her. I placed a blanket over her. She continued to breathe deeply, in and out, unmoving. According to my clock, it was only just past 7. I was surprised Mallory had fallen so deeply asleep already. She looked like she'd be there for the rest of the night. Maybe I should have let her help with so many other chores, I thought, but then I was getting pretty sleepy too. I crept into the kitchen and, as quietly as I could, made my nightly cup of herbal tea, with a snack all afternoon so I wasn't hungry, but that cup of tea before bed was an absolute must. Carefully, I carried my mug upstairs, set it in so as not to disturb Mallory. It wasn't long enough I was dozing off, tea only half gone. My body had been warmed by the fire, which made it all too easy to drift off to sleep. That night I dreamed of the chicken coop being empty. There were only traces left behind of the hens, and their feathers were scattered everywhere on the ground. Coyote must have spirited them away, my dream brain thought. I remember poking one of the feathers and walking around the woods in search of them. It was a very strange dream, unlike any other I had before. Yeah! Maturation! Chapter 5! Next. But, this is all the time I have for today. So thank you very much everybody for watching. I hope you had a blast. I was the Lost Chevalier, signing out. Bye bye! Bye 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 bye.